Shavua Tov Kinderlach, there's a minhag, there's a special custom to tell Hasidic stories on Motzei Shabbos. So I want to tell you a beautiful story. It's Shabbos Mevarchim, it's the Shabbos that brings in Elul. So we're already starting to think about the new year, and I want to read you one of my favorite New Year stories. It's a beautiful, beautiful story from the book Tefillah Treasures by Genendel Krohn. The name of the story is known as The Little Jug. Here we go. About 2,000 years ago, there was a man named Yochai who was a big Talmid Chacham named Yochai, and he was also very, very wealthy. There was one thing, however, that made him sad. With all the things he could afford with his money, there was one thing he didn't have. He and his wife Sarah had been married for many, many years and had not yet been blessed with children. Although both of them davened, Sarah, his wife, davened even harder. Many years passed, but Sarah refused to give up hope and continued to cry and cry to Hashem. Anyways, it was the night of Rosh Hashanah when Hashem decides what will happen to each person in the coming year. Shortly after Yochai fell asleep, he dreamed that he was leaning against a tree in a garden, and the tree had only branches but no leaves and no fruit. When he looked around, he realized that he was in the middle of a huge forest filled with thousands of trees. Remember, this is on Rosh Hashanah night in his dream. And suddenly he noticed a man walking through the forest carrying a leather bottle filled with water. This holy man stopped in front of a bare tree and would water it. And immediately leaves would sprout from the tree and fruit grew. Then he walked to a different bare tree, a tree that didn't have leaves or fruit, and watered it. And all of a sudden, leaves would sprout again, and fruit grew from that tree. The man walked around the forest, watering trees and trees and trees, and they would begin to blossom. When the man reached the tree that Yochai was leaning on, he stopped. Then he put his hand into his pocket and pulled out a little jug. Carefully, it was a different jug, a new jug. And carefully he poured water from this jug onto the roots of the tree that Yochai was leaning on, and he blessed the tree. Yochai watched as the tree suddenly sprouted leaves and produced not just regular fruit, but big, beautiful fruits, whose delicious smell was so incredible it spread throughout the entire forest. Yochai woke up the next morning in a very good mood. I had an incredible dream last night, he told Sarah. Remember, this is on Rosh Hashanah when everything's decided for the year. I believe Hashem was sending us a message. After sharing the details of the dream, he said, I think the meaning of my dream is that the trees in the forest are like the women in the world who are davening to Hashem for children, today, or the women of the world. And today is the day when Hashem decides whether they're going to have children this year or not. All the dreams that blossomed represent the women who will be blessed with children this year. Then he continued with a smile. The tree standing next to me is you, Sarah. I am sure that you too will have a child this year. Of course, Sarah was very excited to hear that, but there's one part of my dream that I don't understand, Yochai said. Why did the man have to pull out a separate jug to water your tree instead of using the same one that he used for everyone else? Let's go and ask the rabbi of the town. Who was the rabbi? The great and holy Rabbi Akiva from the times of the Mishnayos. And he said, Rabbi Akiva, I'm sure he'll know the answer. When Rosh Hashanah was over, the couple went over to Rabbi Akiva and told him about the dream. You understood the dream correctly, Yochai, Rabbi Akiva told them. You will be blessed with a child this year, Baruch Hashem. Yochai and Sarah were beside themselves, so happy. But what we're confused about one thing is, Yochai said, why was there a special jug for my wife that was different? That, you see, is a very good question, Rabbi Akiva answered. The reason is because there was a decree in Shamayim that your wife wouldn't have children. She wasn't going to be able to, but all these years Hashem had been collecting the tears of her precious tefillos that fell when she davened, and he has been storing them in a special little jug in Shamayim. When the jug became full of water, it was used to water your wife's tree. And despite the gzera that she couldn't have children, Hashem was going to make a miracle. It is only because of her heartfelt tefillos, the tears, that Hashem decided that she was going to have a baby. And this year, continued Rabbi Akiva, you will have a child who will become a great tzaddik, not just a regular child, a great, 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 great tzaddik. One day he will light up the world with his Torah and mitzvahs like the smell of the tree filled the garden. Sure enough, the following Shavuos, a son was born to Yochai and Sarah. Does anyone know who was born on Shavuos? Well, what great tzaddik was born on Shavuos? In order to always remember the reason why they were zocha to this child, they named him Shimon, which means that Hashem heard their tefillos. Just as Rabbi Akiva had promised, Shimon grew up to be the great tzaddik who we know, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, whose Torah truly lights up the world. We see from this story how much we can accomplish when we daven to Hashem, especially when we daven with tears. Sometimes it may seem like Hashem is ignoring us, but never, ever, ever. Every tefillah Hashem collects. Even if our tefillahs don't seem to be answered right away. We should remember that Hashem is always listening. He collects every single tefillah and saves them all in a special jug in Shemaim. When that jug becomes full, He uses it to pour goodness and bracha into our lives. Have a good week. Have a good month of Elul, and you should be blessed with a beautiful year, a good bench to your Shana Tova.